Grace and peace to you.
And welcome to Morning Watch.
I'm Pastor Jesse.
I'm Pastor Matt. We're pastors here in Greensboro, North Carolina.
And we're brothers.
And we're neighbors, so our families have been isolated together since March, and glad that so many of y'all have been isolated with us. We're glad to be back for our Morning Watch time together.
Yeah, and this season, just like last season, we're going to be throwing things over to friends of ours pretty regularly to let other folks lead our morning devotion time. And this morning, Pastor Jennifer Shimota, who is the coordinator of enrollment, seminary enrollment at the Lutheran Theological Southern Seminary in Columbia, South Carolina. Pastor Jennifer is a good friend of both of ours. I consider her to be kind of my pastor. That when I moved here to Greensboro, she let me live in her house while we were still closing on our house.
That was nice.
But then we got together once a week for her to kind of hear me and let me process what being a pastor is like, and show me the ropes of how it all worked, and listen and give advice. And so Pastor Jennifer is one of my favorite mentors in my life, and I'm delighted that she could be with us this morning to lead a devotion.
Yeah, happy to share Pastor Jennifer with all of you. Take it away.
Psalm 23. Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not be in want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. My name is Jennifer Shimota. I am a pastor in the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, and I'm the coordinator of seminary enrollment here at Lutheran Theological Southern Seminary of Lenore-Rhine University. And I read Psalm 23 to my dog earlier in that recording you just saw, because she's a Psalm 23 dog for me. She's, after a long day, she restores my soul. She, in the presence of things that are stressful, she brings me peace. And the Psalm 23 has moved to a center place in my faith journey in the last few years. Of course, I've known it my whole life, and it's been read at many events, and we have it every year in the Easter season. So I knew it, but a few years ago, God just sort of made it really manifest in my life. So a few years ago, before my husband Ken died, our life together was pretty scary. Sometimes he was quite sick, and there was a lot of stress from a lot of different sort of angles. But I was holding it together, and I was just doing my job. I was a pastor in North Carolina at the time, and we had a teenage daughter still at home, and I was just making it work. And I had a meeting one morning, and I knew who was going to be at the meeting. It was for planning for an event that we were doing, and I thought I knew everybody who was going to be there, and it didn't occur to me that, I just showed up at this meeting, and I was late. I was late because I don't know why, but I'm not surprised that I remember that I was late, and I kind of came stumbling in with my apologies. And I scanned the room and started to put my things down, but then I saw Tim Caniff-Kuhn sitting at the table. And I just froze, and I said maybe 3 or 4 times in a row, I said, I didn't know you were going to, I didn't know I was going to see you today. I didn't know I was going to see you today. I didn't know you were going to be here. And he stood to come and give me a hug and a greeting, I guess. And I moved to put my computer bag on the floor, and I stepped toward him, and I put my head on his chest or shoulder, whatever. Like, I just took this hug and wept. And I wasn't expecting it. I thought I didn't know I needed it. But what happened was I had enemies all around all the minutes of the day. And I went scurrying off to another meeting. And in the meeting, sitting there, was a man who makes me feel safe. Tim and my husband Ken were lifelong friends. So Tim knew a lot more of our story than a lot of people did. And I didn't know that I was feeling so tired or so unsafe or whatever it was. I didn't know that I needed the person who makes me feel safe that day. And I became aware that one of the ways that God keeps the promise to dwell with me so that I will not be alone when I'm struggling is, yes, by the movement of the Holy Spirit and by Christ's presence in my own life, in my heart. Christ is present in me, and that's one of the ways that the promise that I won't be alone is kept. But in my own lived experience, the primary way God keeps that promise is through other people, bringing to me themselves, their love, their friendship, when I need to not be alone, or when I'm surrounded by enemies. So I started looking around my life and discovering that God had given me many Psalm 23 people. And some of them I hadn't known that long, and some I had known my whole lives. My parents are certainly in the habit of restoring my soul. And as I age, and my children age, we're sort of trading some roles maybe in our life, and they are more and more a soft place to land for me. They are more and more in the, if the other things in my life feel like I'm running in a barren desert, being with Micah and Sage feels like walking by still waters. So what I would like to ask you to do today is to think about the Psalm 23 people that God has given you. Who are the people that set a feast for you in front of your enemies when things are really, really hard? Who are the people who come in and say, with a text or a phone call, or maybe bringing a meal over or meet for coffee? Who are the people that God fulfills the promise that you will not be alone, through whom God does that? Who are those people? And then also recognize that you are one of those people. God uses you and your life and your relationships to bring peace to other people's lives. You are a Psalm 23 person to other people. And then I want to say that when I ask you to make a list of Psalm 23 people that God has given you, and you struggle to make a list, or you think of somebody, but you also add on maybe but about them or your relationship with them, then I want to say that I believe that God is working on that. I believe that God is working in your relationships or bringing you someone new to be Psalm 23 person or people for you. And if you are not sure if you are the kind of person that might bring peace to others, the kind of person that someone may name as a Psalm 23 person, then I want to tell you that I believe that God is working on that too. This is a gift for us, this community of the people who dwell with us in the world. Our gifts straight from God, and they are, and we are, part of the way God keeps the promise that we will not be alone, that God will abide, and that we will, in the presence of our enemies, take a break with a friend. Blessings to you.